Hello, and welcome back to The Power of Now, a guide to spiritual enlightenment with Gilda and Barbara. Today, we're doing a book study on A New Earth, Awakening to Your Life's Purpose, written by Eckhart Tolle, and we hope that you have your copies so that you can follow along. Today, we are on Chapter 9, Section 3, and we're actually in the second half of Section 3. My name is Barbara Wainwright, and I'm here with Gilda Simonet. Welcome, Gilda.
Thank you.
All right, a dialogue on inner purpose. Is the notion of success just an egoic illusion? How do we measure true success?
The world will tell you that success is achieving what you set out to do. It will tell you that success is winning, that finding recognition and or prosperity are essential ingredients in any success. All or some of the above are usually byproducts of success, but they are not success. The conventional notion of success is concerned with the outcome of what you do. Some say that success is the result of a combination of hard work and luck, or determination and talent, or being in the right place at the right time. While any of these may be determinants of success, they are not its essence. What the world doesn't tell you, because it doesn't know, is that you cannot become successful. You can only be successful. Don't let a mad world tell you that success is anything other than a successful present moment. And what is that? There is a sense of quality in what you do, even the most simple action. Quality implies care and attention, which come with awareness. Quality requires your presence.
Let's say that you are a business person, and after 2 years of intense stress and strain, you finally manage to come out with a product or a service that sells well and makes money. Success? In conventional terms, yes. In reality, you spent 2 years polluting your body as well as the earth with negative energy, made yourself and those around you miserable, and affected many others you never even met. The unconscious assumption behind all such action is that success is a future event and that the end justifies the means. But in the end, the means are one. And if the means did not contribute to human happiness, neither will the end. The outcome, which is inseparable from the actions that led to it, is already contaminated by those actions, and so will create further unhappiness. This is karmic action, which is the unconscious perpetuation of unhappiness.
As you already know, your secondary or outer purpose lies within the dimension of time, while your main purpose is inseparable from the now and therefore requires the negation of time. How are they reconciled? By realizing that your entire life journey ultimately consists of the step you are taking at this moment. There is always only this one step, and so you give it your fullest attention. This doesn't mean you don't know where you are going. It just means this step is primary, the destination secondary. And what you encounter at your destination, once you get there, depends on the quality of this one step. Another way of putting it, what the future holds for you depends on your state of consciousness now.
When doing becomes infused with timeless quality of being, that is success. Unless being flows into doing, unless you are present, you lose yourself in whatever you do. You also lose yourself in thinking, as well as in your reactions to what happens externally.
The student asks, What exactly do you mean when you say you lose yourself?
Eckhart continues. The essence of who you are is consciousness. When consciousness, you, becomes completely identified with thinking and thus forgets its essential nature, it loses itself in thought. When it becomes identified with mental emotional formations such as wanting and fearing, the primary motivating forces of the ego, it loses itself in those formations. Consciousness also loses itself when it identifies with acting and reacting to what happens. Every thought, every desire or fear, every action or reaction is then infused with a false sense of self that is incapable of sensing the simple joy of being, and so seeks pleasure and sometimes even pain as substitutes for it. This is living in forgetfulness of being. In that state of forgetfulness of who you are, every success is no more than a passing delusion. Whatever you achieve, soon you will be unhappy again, or some new problem or dilemma will draw your attention in completely.
How do I go from realizing what my inner purpose is to finding out what I am supposed to do on the outer level?
Eckhart continues. The outer purpose varies greatly from person to person, and no outer purpose lasts forever. It is subject to time and then replaced by some other purpose. The extent to which dedication to the inner purpose of awakening changes the external circumstances of your life also varies greatly. For some people, there is a sudden or gradual break with their past, their work, their living situation, relationships. Everything undergoes profound change. Some of the change may be initiated by themselves, not through an agonizing decision-making process, but by a sudden realization or recognition. This is what I have to do. The decision arrives ready-made, so to speak. It comes through awareness, not through thinking. You wake up one morning and you know what to do. Some people find themselves walking out of an insane work environment or living situation. So before you discover what is right for you on the external level, before you discover what works, what is compatible with the awakening consciousness, you may have to find out what is not right, what no longer works, what is incompatible with your inner purpose.
Other kinds of change may suddenly come to you from without. A chance meeting brings new opportunity and expansion into your life. A long-standing obstacle or conflict dissolves. Your friends either go through this inner transformation with you or drift out of your life. Some relationships dissolve, others deepen. You may get laid off from your job, or you become an agent for positive change at your workplace. Your spouse leaves you, or you reach a new level of intimacy. Some changes may look negative on the surface, but you will soon realize that space is being created in your life for something new to emerge. That's so true. That's my favorite paragraph in this section.
I agree. I can relate to all of it because a chance meeting bringing new opportunities and expansion, yes. A long-standing obstacle being dissolved, yes. Your friends either go through this with you or drift out of your life, like someone I know that drifted out of my
100%.
life.
That definitely happened to me.
Oh my gosh. Relationships dissolve or deepen, right? You
Yeah.
get laid off from your job or you become an agent for positive change at your workplace. And that depends on the workplace. If the workplace is ready to be lifted up and elevated, then yeah, you can implement change there. Otherwise, the door shuts and you get to go on to another job where you can make a difference and bring the light. So this is so incredibly important that he's pointed out the different circumstances and they're all right on with what's happening in probably a lot of people's lives right now. Eckhart continues, there may be a period of insecurity and uncertainty. What should I do? as the ego is no longer running your life. The psychological need for external security, which is illusory anyway, lessens. You're able to live with uncertainty and even enjoy it. When you become uncomfortable with uncertainty, infinite possibilities open up in your life. It means fear is no longer a dominant factor in what you do and no longer prevents you from taking action to initiate change. The Roman philosopher Tacitus rightly observed that the desire for safety stands against every great and noble enterprise. If uncertainty is unacceptable to you, it turns into fear. If it is perfectly acceptable, it turns into increased aliveness, alertness, and creativity.
Many years ago, as a result of a strong inner impulse, I walked out of an academic career that the world would have called promising, stepping into complete uncertainty. And out of that, after several years, emerged my new incarnation as a spiritual teacher. Much later, something similar happened again. The impulse came to give up my home in England and move to the west coast of North America. I obeyed that impulse, although I didn't know the reason for it. Out of that move into uncertainty came the power of now, most of which was written in California and British Columbia, while I didn't have a home of my own. I had virtually no income and lived on my savings, which were quickly running out. In fact, everything fell into place beautifully. I ran out of money just when I was getting close to finishing writing. I bought a lottery ticket and won $1,000, which kept me going for another month.
Not everybody, however, will have to go through drastic change in their external circumstances. On the other end of the spectrum, you have people who stay exactly where they are and keep doing whatever they are doing. For them, only the how changes, not the what. This is not due to fear or inertia. What they are doing already is a perfect vehicle for consciousness to come into this world, and it needs no other. They too bring into manifestation the new earth.
A student asks, shouldn't this be the case for everybody? If fulfilling your inner purpose is being at one with the present moment, why should anybody feel the need to remove themselves from their current work or living situation?
Eckhart continues, being at one with what is doesn't mean you no longer initiate change or become incapable of taking action, but the motivation to take action comes from a deeper level, not from egoic wanting or fearing. Inner alignment with the present moment opens your consciousness and brings it into alignment with the whole, of which the present moment is an integral part. The whole, the totality of life, then acts through you.
What do you mean by the whole?
Eckhart continues, on the one hand, the whole comprises all that exists. It is the world or the cosmos. But all things in existence, from microbes to human beings to galaxies, are not really separate things or entities, but form part of a web of interconnected multidimensional processes.
There are two reasons why we don't see this unity, why we see things as separate. One is perception, which reduces reality to what is accessible to us through the small range of our senses, what we can see, hear, smell, taste, and touch. But when we perceive without interpreting or mentally labeling, which means without adding thought to our perceptions, we can actually still sense the deeper connectedness underneath our perception of seemingly separate things.
The other more serious reason for the illusion of separateness is compulsive thinking. It is when we are trapped in incessant streams of compulsive thinking that the universe really disintegrates for us, and we lose the ability to sense the interconnectedness of all that exists. Thinking cuts reality up into lifeless fragments. Extremely unintelligent and destructive action arises out of such a fragmented view of reality.
However, there is an even deeper level to the whole than the interconnectedness of everything in existence. At that deeper level, all things are one. It is the source, the unmanifested one life. It is the timeless intelligence that manifests as the universe unfolding in time.
The whole is made up of existence and being, the manifested and the unmanifested, the world and God. So, when you become aligned with the whole, you become a conscious part of the interconnectedness of the whole and its purpose, the emergence of consciousness into this world. As a result, spontaneous helpful occurrences, chance encounters, coincidences, and synchronistic events happen much more frequently. Carl Jung called this synchronicity a causal connecting principle. This means there is no causal connection between synchronistic events on our surface level of reality. It is an outer manifestation of an underlying intelligence behind the world of appearances and a deeper connectedness that our mind cannot understand. But we can be conscious participants in the unfolding of that intelligence, the flowering consciousness.
Nature exists in a state of unconscious oneness with the whole. This, for example, is why virtually no wild animals were killed in the tsunami disaster of 2004. Being more in touch with the totality than humans, they could sense the tsunami's approach long before it could be seen or heard, and so had time to withdraw to higher terrain. Perhaps even that is looking at it from a human perspective. They probably just found themselves moving to higher terrain. Doing this because of that is the mind's way of cutting up reality, whereas nature lives in unconscious oneness with the whole. It is our purpose and destiny to bring a new dimension into this world by living in conscious oneness with the totality and conscious alignment with universal intelligence.
A student asks, can the whole use the human mind to create things or bring about situations that are in alignment with its purpose?
Yes. Whenever there is inspiration, which translates as in spirit and enthusiasm, which means in God, there is a creative empowerment that goes far beyond what a mere person is capable of.
This section of the book, in my mind, has all the answers that people might be looking for in terms of what is my inner purpose? What am I supposed to be doing? How can I make a difference in the world? Well, if you align yourself with the present moment and do everything from that state of beingness, then you are living your purpose. You are in alignment with your purpose. I highlighted so much in this section. I don't know if you did the same thing, Gilda, but man, I highlighted a lot of really key thoughts. When you are acting from beingness, you may experience a chance meeting with a new opportunity. You might experience expansion in your life. You might find that a longstanding obstacle drops away. You might have friends come or go in your life. Or you might realize that new space is being created in your life so that something new can emerge. And when you become comfortable with uncertainty, infinite possibilities will open up in your life. All things in existence, from microbes to human beings to galaxies, are not really separate things or entities, but form part of a web of interconnectedness. We can't see this interconnectedness because our perception doesn't allow it. We're human beings after all. And compulsive thinking stops us from being able to recognize it. When we get trapped in incessant streams of compulsive thinking, it literally disintegrates the universe for us, and we lose the ability to sense the interconnectedness of all that exists. And there's even a deeper level to the whole, the interconnectedness of everything in existence. And at that deeper level, all things are one. It is the source, the unmanifested one life. It is the timeless intelligence that manifests as a universe unfolding in time. And what we are meant to do is help that timeless intelligence to manifest here in time. It's the emergence of consciousness into this world that is our purpose. It is our purpose and destiny to bring a new dimension into this world by living in conscious oneness with the totality and conscious alignment with universal intelligence. Kind of says it all, doesn't it?
I like this section because by accepting the present moment fully, like even when it's uncomfortable, you stop being controlled by the ego's need for things to be different. And it's like this acceptance doesn't really mean that you're being passive. It just means that you're acting from like clarity rather than like reactivity. And I know that there's been situations where in my life I felt like it was a bummer to lose a friend without realizing that losing that friend brought like, a new opportunity for me, like a maybe a more healthy friendship. When you come into acceptance of some of the things that you may lose in life, you'd be surprised like what's around the corner. Even for the friendships that I've lost in life, some of them I still cry about, because I didn't want to lose those friendships. Like the memories were super powerful, but they just weren't good friends to me, So um, that loss was hard. But on the other end of the stick, having those kind of experiences and those kind of friendships that weren't the best helped me to pave a path where I invited, I guess, healthier friendships into my life and new opportunities, and it ended up becoming like a beautiful experience.
This section is really profound, and I think you summed it up really great by being able to relate to what he's saying based on your own personal experiences. And, I'll say the same thing. My life has changed greatly. I've lost friendships that I thought would be around forever, but it just wasn't meant to be. And I don't know if that's because I've evolved. And, sometimes when you're around people that aren't living in the light, that don't have that connection, they don't want to be around you. It's too much for them. It's too much brilliant light energy. And so they go away. It's interesting,
And
to,
sometimes they don't go away easily. They go away with a fight, right?
yeah, yeah, exactly. Their ego gets in the way, and then they make it a nasty experience, and then they are gone. The ego thrives on making somebody else wrong, right? So they make you wrong so that they can go away from you because you can't handle your light. So if you're wrong, then they're right. And it's okay for them to go away from you.
No, it makes sense. It reminds me of one of my friends who's traveling the world right now, and they were only supposed to be on this trip for like maybe a few weeks, but something happened with their plane ticket, so they ended up not really being stranded, but they had to stay a little bit longer. And instead of just like sitting and suffering and just being totally bothered by the fact that they, can't come back and continue the life that they need to continue here, like they're like, I'm just gonna enjoy the moment and I'm just gonna see where life takes me while I'm, here waiting to go back home. And while they were enjoying it, I guess they had people in their life that I guess didn't like the light or didn't understand. So they were like, "Oh, you're living in a dream fantasy world. Like, what are you doing? Come back from Mars." Like, making it seem like they're just like delusional for enjoying their time. Even though they had
Right.
like a bad circumstance, like they were making the best out of their
I
situation.
love it. They were being present in the moment and
Exactly.
in the flow of the universal energy, open to discovering what was going to come because of this new circumstance that came into being. So I totally get it. And how, and other people that are living in fear, which is ego, don't get it.
Exactly.
And then they become alienated because they don't understand.
And then they want to make you feel bad for it. Like, it's just
Yeah, yeah. I love being awakened and being conscious and having this knowledge. Thank you, Eckhart Tolle, for bringing this work to light, because this information has helped me to understand people, to understand spirituality, understand that the universe is expressing through us, and we just need to get out of the way. If you can get your ego out of the way, you will have and live a life of miracle after miracle after miracle. So it's our job as human beings here, even though we're spiritual beings having this human experience, it's our job to keep our egos out of the mix so that the universe can bless us and perform those miracles through us.
just be aware that while you're in the light, you are going to notice all the egos and they're going to be strong and vengeful, but that's okay
Yeah,
because you're
it's
too
okay,
busy
because guess what?
surviving.
No matter what, it's not going to impact you if you're conscious. You know why? Because they can try as they might to impact you, but if you're conscious and you're present, no matter what happens, you know you're going to be okay. You know you're going to be all right. You know that the universe is going to open all the doors that need to be open for you because you are expressing presence here now.
Love it.
Yeah, me too. I love the awakening experience and knowing, because you take your ego out of the situation, you're going to continue to be blessed.
My favorite part.
Mm-hmm. So I've had people try to sabotage me in work environments before. And what happens is, I know what he said here in a section, that new doors open for you that bring an experience that's even better than what you got sabotaged out of.
Yeah.
Right? It turns into blessings for those that are enlightened and not ego based. I love it. I think that's all we have time for this week. So stay present, stay awake, watch your thinking, notice your thoughts. If you're thinking incessantly, you're not allowing the universe to express through you. Until next week, have a good one. Bye.
Bye.
If you've enjoyed this podcast and you'd like to go deeper into a spiritual conversation, you can join our Facebook group, The Power of Now, A Guide to Spiritual Enlightenment with Gilda and Barbara. Or you can contribute by going to wainwrightglobal.com/go/support.